It's late September in New Jersey, and the air's got that crisp edge that makes you pull your jacket tighter. The leaves are starting to turn, scattering across the lawn of our split-level house in Montclair. I'm sitting at the kitchen island, scrolling through patient schedules for the sports clinic where I work as a coordinator. The hum of the fridge is the only sound. Mark's upstairs, probably on a call, his voice a low murmur through the ceiling. 9 years of marriage, and somehow we've settled into this rhythm, two people orbiting the same space but never quite colliding. I don't know when it started feeling like this. Maybe it was gradual, like the way paint fades on a wall you don't notice until it's peeling. We're stable, though. On paper, everything's fine. I've got my job, Mark's climbing the ladder in logistics, and we've got a mortgage. That's almost halfway paid. But there's this gap now, this quiet that's louder than any argument. We talk about groceries, bills, the neighbor's dog that keeps digging up our yard. Never about us. Last weekend, I went to a barbecue at Jessica's place. Jess and I go way back. High school track team, sneaking wine coolers in her basement. Her house in West Orange is all chaos and warmth, kids running around, her husband grilling burgers. I was helping her set out plates when her son Logan walked in. I hadn't seen him in years, not since he was a lanky teenager with braces. Now he's 25, broad-shouldered, with this easy confidence that makes you look twice. He's back in town after some time out west, working as a freelance graphic designer or something. Jess says he's figuring himself out. We got to talking by the fire pit, the kind of conversation that starts with, "Remember when," and ends up somewhere deeper. He brought up this one summer when I helped him with a school project, a diorama of the solar system. I barely remembered it, but he said I was the only adult who didn't talk down to him, who made him feel like his ideas mattered. "You kinda shaped how I see things," he said, his eyes catching the firelight. I laughed it off, but it landed, somewhere soft inside me, like a stone dropped in still water. Mark was there too, but he spent most of the night on his phone, checking emails. When we drove home, he didn't ask about Logan or Jess or anything, just turned on the radio and let it fill the silence. I stared out the window, thinking about what Logan said. It's been a long time since anyone looked at me like I was more than just functional. Like I was someone who could still surprise them. Back in the kitchen now, I close my laptop and glance at the clock. Almost 9. Mark's footsteps creak overhead, then stop. I wait for him to come down, maybe suggest we watch something, but he doesn't. I pour a glass of wine and sit there, the house too big around me. Outside, the wind picks up, rattling the patio furniture. I think about Logan's laugh, the way it felt to be seen, even for a moment. And I wonder when I stopped expecting that from the man upstairs. It's a Tuesday in early October, and the house feels like it's holding its breath. Mark's been staying late at work more often, saying, "It's a big quarter for his team." I don't push for details. Logistics isn't exactly thrilling dinner talk. But tonight, I'm restless, pacing the living room with a glass of water I keep forgetting to drink. His phone's on the coffee table, buzzing with a notification. I don't mean to look, but the screen lights up, and there's a text from a number I don't know. "Call when you're free. No name, no context." My stomach twists, but I don't touch the phone. I tell myself it's nothing, probably work. Still, I can't shake the feeling that something's off, like a crack in a foundation you only notice when it starts to spread. Around 8, the doorbell rings. It's Logan, holding a grocery bag from Jess. "Mom said you needed these," he says, grinning as he steps into the foyer. His hair's a little messy, like he's been running his hands through it. He's wearing a faded flannel, sleeves rolled up, and there's this energy about him, like he's always half a step from laughing. I take the bag, some lemons, a loaf of bread, random stuff Jess probably grabbed to have an excuse to send him over. "You didn't have to play delivery guy," I say, but I'm glad he's here. The house feels less empty with him in it. We end up in the kitchen, me brewing tea while he leans against the counter, scrolling through his phone to find a playlist. He picks some indie stuff from high school, bands we used to blast in Jess's car. The music fills the room, and for a while, it's just easy. We talk about dumb things, old teachers, the time Jess tried to dye her hair purple and ended up with a green streak. But then he asks about my day, and I don't know why, but I tell him the truth. How the clinic's been hectic, how I feel like I'm just going through the motions. He listens, really listens, not like he's waiting for his turn to talk. "Sounds like you're carrying a lot," he says, his voice soft but steady. I nod. staring into my mug, not sure what to say. The conversation shifts, gets quieter. He talks about moving back home, how it's weird being in his old room, like he's stuck between who he was and who he's trying to be. Sometimes I wonder if anyone really gets me, he says. And there's this raw edge to it, like he's not just talking about now. I want to say something comforting, but instead, I just look at him, and there's this moment where neither of us speaks. Then he steps closer, and before I know what's happening, he kisses me. It's gentle, hesitant, like he's testing the air between us. My heart's pounding, but I pull back, my hand on his chest. "Logan?" I say, barely above a whisper. He doesn't push, just steps back, his eyes searching mine. "I'm sorry," he says, but he doesn't sound sorry. Not really. We sit there for a bit, the music still playing, neither of us sure what to do next. I don't ask him to leave, and he doesn't offer. When he finally heads out, I lock the door and lean against it, my mind racing. Upstairs, Mark's still not home. I check his phone again. Nothing new. But that text is still there, glowing, in the dark, and I realize I'm not just mad at him. I'm mad at myself for how much I wanted to kiss Logan back. October's settling in, and the air's got that raw bite that sneaks under your collar. I'm at the sports clinic, juggling appointment confirmations and dodging Dr. Patel's complaints about the new scheduling software. My head's foggy like I'm moving through water. Mark's been short-tempered lately, snapping about the thermostat being too high or the dishes I left in the sink. It's not yelling, just this steady drip of irritation that makes me feel like I'm always one step behind. I keep replaying that night with Logan, the kiss, the way I didn't push him away as fast as I should have. It's like a splinter I can't stop poking at. I'm grabbing my bag from the break room when I spot Logan outside the clinic, leaning against his beat-up Subaru, hands stuffed in his jacket pockets. He's got this half smile like he's not sure if he's welcome. "Needed a ride to the shop," he says, nodding at his car. Figured I'd say hi. I hesitate, then offer to drive him. It's just a lift, I tell myself, nothing more. We slide into my Honda and the air feels charged, like the moment before a storm. We don't go straight to the shop. I suggest coffee and he doesn't argue. We end up at this hole-in-the-wall cafe in Bloomfield, the kind with mismatched chairs and a barista who knows everyone's order. Over lattes, we talk about the past, summers at Jess's pool, the time we all snuck into a drive-in movie and got caught. Logan's got this way of pulling memories out of me, ones I'd forgotten, like how I used to sketch in a notebook during track meets. "You were always so steady," he says, stirring his coffee. Like no matter what was going on, I could count on you to make sense of it. His words hit hard, because I don't feel steady anymore. I feel like I'm unraveling. He tells me about his childhood, how he looked up to me back then, how I was this cool, older figure who didn't treat him like a kid. "You made me believe I could be somebody," he says, and there's this earnestness in his eyes that makes my chest ache. I want to tell him I'm not that person anymore, that I'm just a 34-year-old woman stuck in a life that doesn't fit right. But I don't. I just sip my coffee and let the warmth of his words settle over me. Driving back, I feel this pull, like I'm standing at the edge of something I can't name. When I drop him off, he lingers by the car, his hand on the door. "Thanks for this," he says. And it's not just about the ride. I nod, my throat tight, and watch him walk away. Back at the clinic, I'm barely focused, my mind stuck on that cafe, on the way he looked at me. Later, Jess calls. Her voice is warm but careful, like she's picking her words. She mentions Logan's been struggling, some rough patches after a breakup, trouble finding steady work. "He trusts you," she says. "If he needs someone to talk to, can you be there for him?" I say yes, of course, but my stomach churns. I know she means well, but there's this line I'm already too close to crossing. When I hang up, I sit in the parking lot, staring at the dashboard. The world feels fragile, like glass under pressure, and I'm not sure how much more it can take before it shatters. It's mid-October, and the trees in Montclair are blazing red and gold, but I barely notice. The tension in the house is like a low hum you don't hear until it stops. Mark's been distant, but tonight he suggests a change of pace. A dinner at this upscale place in Ridgewood, all exposed brick and candlelight. I'm surprised, hopeful. Even thinking maybe he wants to bridge the gap between us. I put on a navy dress I haven't worn in years, hoping it'll spark something. In the car, we're quiet, but it's not the usual silence. It feels like he's got something to say. At the restaurant, the waiter pours us wine, and I wait for Mark to bring up us. Instead, he talks about work, a new contract, then veers into this lecture about managing expectations. Marriage isn't always fireworks, he says, cutting into his steak. Sometimes it's just about showing up. His words land like a slap, not because they're harsh, but because they're so final, like he's already decided what we are. I nod, poke at my salad, and feel the hope I'd carried in here slip away. I excuse myself before dessert, saying I need air. Really, I just can't sit across from him anymore. I drive home, the road blurring through my thoughts. Without thinking, I text Logan. "You around?" He replies fast, and soon we're sitting on the front steps of my house, the night air sharp against my skin. He's in a hoodie, hair falling into his eyes, and there's this quiet intensity about him. "Rough night?" he asks. I shrug, not ready to unpack it. Instead, I ask about his day, and he tells me about a logo he's designing, how it's not coming together. It's small talk, but it's easy, like slipping into an old sweater. Then he looks at me, his voice low. "Why do you stay with him?" The question cuts through the haze, and I freeze. I could say it's love, or habit, or fear of starting over, but none of those feel true. Not completely. "I don't know," I say finally, my voice barely audible. He doesn't push, just sits there, close enough that I can feel the warmth of him. Then he leans in, and this time the kiss isn't hesitant. It's slow, deliberate, like he's saying something he can't put into words. I kiss him back, my hands on his jacket, and for a moment, nothing else exists. No Mark, no dinner, no questions I can't answer. We pull apart, and I'm shaking, not from the cold. He looks at me, his eyes searching, but doesn't say anything. I don't either. We just sit there, the streetlights casting long shadows across the lawn. When he leaves, I go inside and stand in the kitchen, the house too quiet. Mark gets home an hour later, muttering about traffic. He doesn't ask where I was, and I don't tell him. I lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, and realize something shifted inside me. Not love, not yet, but a kind of clarity. I've been holding on to a life that's already slipping through my fingers, and for the first time, I'm not sure I want to catch it. November creeps in, gray and damp, the kind of weather that makes you want to stay inside. The house feels like a museum. Of our marriage, everything in its place but nothing alive. Mark's been pulling away even more, his mornings rushed, his evenings late. I'm not surprised, but it stings, like touching a bruise you forgot was there. Yesterday, I found a receipt in his car for a necklace from a jewelry store in Short Hills. No mention of it, no gift on my pillow. I shoved it back in the glove box and didn't ask. What's the point? Logan's become a regular presence, showing up with small excuses. A loose hinge on the back door. A book he thinks I'd like. I don't stop him. We watch old movies on my laptop, sprawled on the couch, or grab coffee at the diner on Bloomfield Avenue. Last week, we walked through Brookdale Park, kicking through piles of leaves, talking about nothing and everything. He's easy to be around, like a song you didn't realize you knew the words to. But there's this undercurrent now, a pull I'm not sure I can resist. Today, he's over, helping me move a shelf in the garage. We're laughing about some dumb reality show when he stops, wiping his hands on his jeans. "You happy?" He asks out of nowhere. His tone's not casual. It's like he's been holding the question for a while. I pause, the screwdriver still in my hand. "I'm fine," I say, but it sounds hollow, even to me. He steps closer, his voice low. "Fine's not the same as happy. You're just holding on, aren't you? To this house, to him, to whatever. This is." I want to argue, to tell him he's wrong, but the words don't come. Instead, I look away, focusing on the concrete floor, the cracks spidering out from the corner. He doesn't let it go. "What's keeping you here?" he asks. Habit? Fear? I feel a flash of anger, not at him, but at how exposed I feel. "It's not that simple," I snap, tossing the screwdriver onto the workbench. He doesn't flinch, just watches me, his eyes steady. "Maybe it is," he says. "Maybe you're just scared to admit you deserve more." The air feels heavy, like it's pressing down on us. I don't answer, and he doesn't push, but the question lingers, sharp and unyielding. Later, when he's gone, I'm cleaning up the kitchen, scrubbing the same spot on the counter until my hand aches. Mark comes home, tosses his keys on the table, and heads upstairs without a word. I think about the receipt, about Logan's question, about the way my life feels like a dress that doesn't fit anymore. I pour a glass of wine and sit at the island, staring at my phone. No texts from Logan, but I can still feel the weight of his words. I'm not happy. I know that now. But admitting it feels like stepping off a cliff, and I'm not sure I'm ready to fall. Not yet. The clock ticks toward midnight, and I'm still there, alone, wondering how long I can keep standing on the edge. It's late November, and the air's turned sharp, slicing through my coat as I walk to my car after a long shift at the clinic. The days are shorter now, the sky already dark by 5. Things with Mark are like a taut wire. One wrong move and it'll snap. Logan's been around more, but it's not just casual anymore. There's a weight to every glance, every word. Yesterday, in my living room, he looked at me over a half-eaten pizza and said, "I'm falling for you." His voice was steady, no hesitation, like he'd been carrying it for weeks. I froze, my slice halfway to my mouth. "Logan, I don't know what this is," I said, my words stumbling. He leaned forward, eyes locked on mine. "Don't use me to fill a void. I'm not here for that." It wasn't an accusation, but it stung, like he'd seen right through me. At work, things are unraveling too. I'm in the break room refilling my coffee when I overhear 2 nurses whispering. "Saw her with that younger guy at the cafe," one says, her tone sharp. Not very professional. My face burns, but I keep my head down, stirring sugar. I don't even want. Later, my supervisor pulls me aside, all polite smiles. "Just a reminder to keep personal matters outside the workplace," she says. I nod, but my stomach's in knots. I know it's about Logan, about the rumors starting to spread like weeds. That evening, I'm at the grocery store, distracted, when I catch a snippet of Jess's voice from the next aisle. She's on the phone, her tone low but clear. I think she's stringing him along. Logan deserves better than that. My cart stops dead. I grip the handle, my knuckles white, as her words sink in. Jess, my oldest friend, thinks I'm manipulating her son. I don't confront her. I just leave my half-filled cart and walk out, the fluorescent lights buzzing in my head. When I get home, I'm shaking, not from the cold. I pour a glass of water, but my hands are unsteady, and it spills on the counter. I'm losing Jess. Maybe. Logan too, and Mark. He's already halfway gone. I think about Logan's confession, his warning not to use him. He's right. I've been leaning on him, on the way he makes me feel alive again. But is it real? Or am I just chasing something to drown out the silence? I sit on the couch staring at the TV that's not even on. The house feels like it's closing in, every creak and hum a reminder of how alone I am. I want to call Logan, to explain, but what would I say? That I'm scared? That I don't know who I am without Mark? Without this life I've built? Instead, I text Jess, "Can we talk?" No reply. I curl up under a blanket, the weight of her words, manipulating, stringing along, looping in my mind. I've always thought of myself as the good one, the reliable one. But now, I'm not so sure. The truth is creeping in, and it's uglier than I expected. I've been making choices, and they're starting to cost me everything. December's here, and Montclair's draped in holiday lights, but the cheer feels like it's for someone else. The house is colder now, not just from the weather. Mark's been sleeping in the guest room, his stuff slowly migrating there. Socks, chargers, a stack of work folders. Last night, he found a text from Logan on my phone. I'd left it on the counter, careless. It wasn't anything blatant, just Logan saying, "Let me know if you need to talk." But Mark's eyes went hard when he read it. "Didn't think you'd be the one to stab me in the back," he said, his voice flat, like he was stating a fact. I tried to explain, it wasn't what he thought, it was just a rough patch, we could fix this. But he just shook his head. "You're not even fighting for us," he said, and walked away. No yelling, no dramatics, just this quiet finality. That cut deeper than any argument. I'm at the kitchen table now, staring at a mug of tea that's gone cold. My head's a mess. Logan's confession, Jess's words, the clinic's sidelong glances. I feel like I'm standing in the rubble of my own life. Logan texts, asking if I'm okay, but I don't reply. Instead, he shows up an hour later, knocking, softly. I let him in, and we sit on the couch, the space between us heavy. I meant what I said, he tells me, his voice low. But I can't keep being your escape plan. He's not angry, just tired, like he's carrying the weight of this as much as I am. Then he says, "Come with me. Let's leave, start fresh somewhere." His eyes are earnest, but there's a challenge there too, like he's daring me to choose something for once. I don't answer. I can't. The idea of running off with him feels like a dream, but it's not real. Not when I'm still tangled in this life. He leaves without pushing, and I'm alone again, the silence louder than ever. The next morning, Jess shows up at my door, her face tight. She doesn't sit, just stands in the foyer, arms crossed. I don't know what's going on with you and Logan, she says. But this isn't love. You're using him to feel something, and it's breaking him. Her voice cracks, and I see the hurt in her eyes. Not just for Logan, but for us. For the friendship we've had since we were kids. You're better than this, she adds, then turns and leaves. I stand there, the door still open, letting the cold air rush in. By evening, I'm numb. Mark comes home, grabs a suitcase from the closet, and starts packing. I'm staying at a hotel, he says, not looking at me. We'll figure out the rest later. I don't stop him. I don't have the energy. After he's gone, I sit on the stairs, my phone in my hand. No messages from Logan, no calls from Jess. The life I've known is slipping away, and I'm not sure if I'm grieving it or relieved. All I know is I've pushed everyone to the edge, and now I'm the one left standing alone, wondering how I let it come to this. January's grip is tight, the kind of cold that seeps into your bones. Montclair's streets are dusted with snow, and the house feels like a shell, echoing with absence. Mark's gone for good now, his side of the closet empty. The divorce papers came through last week, and I signed them at the kitchen table, my hand steady but my chest hollow. Logan's gone too. No goodbye, no explanation. I called him once, then texted, but nothing. It's like he vanished, leaving only the ghost of his words. The clinic shuffled me to a different shift, calling it rota optimization, but I know it's because of the whispers. People saw me with Logan, and now I'm the story they tell over coffee. I'm alone most nights, the TV flickering with shows I don't watch. Jess hasn't spoken to me since her visit, and the neighbors give me these tight-lipped smiles, like they're afraid I'll unravel in front of them. I feel like I'm floating, untethered, with nothing to hold on to. The life I had, Mark, Jess, the clinic, it's all slipped away, and I'm left picking through the pieces trying to figure out who I am without them. One morning, a letter arrives, slipped under the door. It's from Logan, handwritten on plain paper. I was wrong too, it reads. I wanted to believe you'd choose yourself, not just play a part. Take care. That's it. No number, no address. I read it 3 times, then tuck it into a drawer. It hurts, not because he's gone, but because he saw me clearer than I saw myself. He wasn't my savior, and I wasn't his. We were just 2 people reaching for something we couldn't name. I start looking for a way out. The house is too big, too full of memories, so I call a realtor. She's kind but blunt. It'll sell fast, but you'll need to stage it. I nod, already mentally packing. I find a small apartment through a friend's mom, a retired nurse who lives across town. It's nothing fancy, 1 bedroom, a tiny balcony, but it's mine. I sign the lease the same day. Works another shift. I quit the clinic and take a job at a service center, manning the front desk. It's repetitive, checking in customers, scheduling repairs. But it's steady, and the people are kind. No one knows my story, and I like it that way. I'm not the coordinator anymore, not the wife, not the friend. I'm just me, figuring out what that means. One night, I'm boxing. Up books when I find an old photo of me and Jess, laughing at a county fair. I stare at it, my thumb brushing the edge. I want to call her, to say I'm sorry, but I don't. Some bridges don't rebuild. I put the photo in a drawer next to Logan's letter and keep packing. The silence isn't comforting, but it's honest. For the first time in months, I'm not running from it. I'm just here, in the mess of my choices, and maybe that's enough for now. February's raw and gray. the kind of weather that makes you feel like the world's pressing down. I've settled into the new apartment, a small one-bedroom on the edge of Montclair. The walls are bare, the furniture secondhand, but it's starting to feel like home. My job at the service center keeps me busy, greeting customers, typing up invoices, making small talk about the weather. It's not glamorous, but it's grounding, like a rhythm I can lean into. The people I work with don't ask about my past, and I don't offer. For the first time in a while, I'm just another face, not a story. Mark's name pops up in a local business newsletter I get in my inbox. He's opening a new logistics hub, smiling in a photo with a ribbon-cutting crew. He looks good, polished, confident, like the man I married but sharper somehow. I scroll past it, my chest tight but not breaking. I don't miss him, not exactly. I miss the idea of us, the version I thought we'd be. But that's gone, and I'm learning to live with the quiet that's left. One afternoon, I'm at the service center, organizing repair tickets, when Jess walks in. I freeze, my pen hovering over a clipboard. She's here to pick up her car, but her eyes lock on mine, and I know this isn't just about an oil change. "Didn't expect to see you here," she says, her voice careful, like she's testing the ground. I nod, keeping my tone neutral. "New gig." She hesitates, then steps closer, lowering her voice. "You still think you didn't know what you were doing? With Logan? With all of it? Or was it just easier to pretend?" Her words are sharp, but there's no venom, just a tired kind of honesty. I look at her, at the lines around her eyes that weren't there when we were kids, and I don't dodge it. "I knew," I say quietly. "I just didn't want to see it." She doesn't respond right away, just studies me like she's looking for the girl she used to know. Then she nods, takes her keys, and leaves. I stand there, the hum of the shop around me, and feel the weight of my own admission. I wasn't clueless. I made choices. Every coffee with Logan, every silence with Mark, every step that led me here. I wasn't a victim of circumstance. I was the one holding the reins, even when I told myself I wasn't. That night, I'm alone in the apartment, a microwave dinner half-eaten on the counter. I pull out Logan's letter from the drawer, reread it, then set it aside. I don't need to keep carrying it. I open a window, let the cold air rush in, and sit on the couch, listening to the distant hum of traffic. There's no epiphany, no sudden clarity. Just me, owning the mess I made, and the strange relief of knowing I can't hide from it anymore. The past is there, heavy but not crushing, and I'm starting to see a way through. Not forward, not yet, but through. March arrives, timid and wet, with patches of snow still clinging to the curbs in Montclair. My apartment's taken shape. Books, on a shelf, a plant I haven't killed yet, a rug that makes the place feel less temporary. The service center job's steady, the kind of routine that keeps me tethered. I'm not thriving, but I'm here, and that's something. The weight of last year lingers, but it's not suffocating anymore. It's just part of the landscape now, like the cracked sidewalks I walk every day. I hear through a coworker that Mark got married last month. The woman from the text, I assume, the one tied to that jewelry store receipt. I picture him at the altar, his easy smile, and feel a pang. Not for him, but for the life I thought we'd share. It passes quickly, like a cloud moving over the sun. I don't Google him or check his socials. I don't need to. He's a chapter that's closed, and I'm okay with the ending. Logan's a different story. He never came back, and I stopped expecting him to. His letter's still in my drawer, but I haven't looked at it in weeks. I think about him sometimes. The way he'd laugh at my bad puns or challenge me to be honest when I didn't want to. I don't miss him like I thought I would. I miss the possibility of him, the version of myself I glimpsed when we were together. But that's gone too, and I'm learning to let it be. One Saturday, I'm restless, so I walk to the corner store, where Logan and I once argued over ice cream flavors, mint chip versus cookies and cream. I stand in the freezer aisle, staring at both pints, and grab them on impulse. At the register, I hesitate, then put them back. It's not about the ice cream, it's about not needing to hold on to that moment anymore. I buy a coffee instead, and head home, the cup warm in my hands. That night, I climb the fire escape to the roof of my building. The sky's clear, stars faint against the city glow. I sit on a folding chair I dragged up here, the metal cold through my jeans. There's no grand reckoning, no urge to disappear. Just a quiet acceptance, like settling into a chair that's not comfortable but fits. I'm not the woman I was a year ago. Mark's wife, Jess's friend, Logan's. Whatever I was. I'm not sure who I am now, but I'm starting to see her shape, like a figure emerging from fog. The city hums below, and I think about that first kiss with Logan, how it cracked my world open. Not because it was love, but because it showed me I could still want something. It changed everything, and I'm not sorry. The silence up here isn't empty. It's mine. I breathe it in, let it settle, and for the first time, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Not fixed, not whole, just present. And that's enough. April's soft light filters through Montclair, coaxing buds onto the trees and a warmth that feels like a promise. My apartment's become a refuge, with a second-hand couch that's comfier than it looks, and a small table where I eat breakfast while reading the news. The service center job's steady, and I've started chatting more with coworkers. Nothing deep, just enough to feel human. There's a guy, Tom, who fixes printers and always has a bad joke ready. His laugh's infectious, and I catch myself smiling more than I used to. Life's not loud, but it's mine. And I'm learning to like the quiet. I'm walking home one evening, the air smelling of rain, when I pass the diner Logan and I used to hit up. I don't stop, but I glance through the window, half expecting to see him at our old booth. It's empty, just a couple of teenagers sharing fries. I keep walking, my sneakers scuffing the pavement. Logan's absence doesn't ache anymore, but it's there, like a bruise that's faded but still tender, if you press it. I wonder where he is. Portland, maybe, or some city where he's starting over. I hope he's okay, but I don't need to know. That's new for me, letting go without answers. At the service center, things shift. My boss, Carla, pulls me aside to say they're looking for a shift lead. "You're good with people," she says, her eyes kind but direct. "Think about it. It's not a corner office, but it's a step, and I feel a flicker of something, pride, maybe, or possibility. I tell her I'll consider it, and for the rest of the day, I'm distracted, imagining what it'd be like to take on more, to build something again. That weekend, I'm sorting laundry when my phone buzzes. It's a text from an unknown number. It's Jess. "Can we meet?" My heart stumbles. I haven't seen her since that day at the shop, her words still sharp in my memory. I almost say no, but something stops me. Curiosity. Or maybe a need. To face what's left. We agree on a park bench near the library, neutral ground. When I get there, she's already waiting, her coat buttoned tight against the breeze. She looks older, softer somehow, like time's sanded down her edges. We don't hug, just sit, the bench cold under us. "I was hard on you," she says finally, staring at the playground across the path. "I was protecting Logan, but I lost you in the process." Her voice is steady, but there's a crack in it. I don't rush to fill the silence. "I messed up too," I say eventually. "I wasn't honest, with you, with him, with myself." It's not an apology, just truth, and it feels like setting down a weight. We talk for a while, careful, but real about her life, mine, the years we've missed. There's no promise of weekly coffees or being best friends again, but it's a start, a door cracked open. Back home, I stand in my tiny kitchen, chopping vegetables for a stir-fry. The knife moves steady, the rhythm soothing. I think about Jess, about Carla's offer, about the woman I'm becoming, someone who can sit with hard truths and still keep going. The future's not clear, but it's not a void either. It's ground I'm learning to walk on one step at a time, and for now, that's all I need.